So in this section, we're going to discuss some interview questions, essentials. So we're going to discuss some of the most common interview questions you'll be asked in many interviews. Let's say one of the common questions, what is your current situations or current work or achievement? So they can ask questions many different ways. But the way you answer or the way you understand this one, they're basically asking your current situations, basically what you do, what's your current situations, what task you do, what is your achievement. So basically, when we get this kind of questions, we should answer in this way. Let's say, hey, my name is Zahid. I have just completed my uh, bachelor's of IT, and after that, I have done some certification courses, and recently I have done my internship programs, and over there, I have done some IT works. So basically, you can mention that which company you have done your internship. For example, I have done my internships under IT Netflix, and over there, we support some customers. Mostly, my job was involved looking after the ticketing systems and answering customer queries, and also look after some issues. Let's say some customers may have some issues with their email system, Wi-Fi system, and also as part of the work, sometimes we have to do onboarding and offboarding. So when new people join in a company, we just set up laptop for them, and when they leave the company, we need to remove everything and wipe out the entire laptop. So part of my job, I did these kind of things recently. Now, what types of customers you support? So basically, this one is asking, let's say you said you're working in a particular company and you did some task. They're asking how you support your customer. You can say like a part of my job, I was receiving email or query via ticketing system. And in this way, we had to call back the customers. And then after that, we see like what is the issues related with that particular faults. We get some information from customers. After that, we answer to customers. So basically, we using email, telephones, majority of the cases. Sometimes you are using like uh, uh, chatting systems, which is Slack or Teams. In this way, we communicate with customers. Then what do you do part of your daily work? You're just saying that day-to-day basis, what task you perform. You can say day-to-day basis, pretty much my job is to look after the tickets and see what new faults come up. So any new faults come up, I had to check that ticket and see like what issues customer is actually describing. And based on that, based on the priority, based on the ticket, we need to call back the customers and pretty much we need to solve the issues. Part of the day-to-day work, looking up the ticket, uh, reply to customer query, setting up new devices, troubleshooting some customer issues. That was my day-to-day jobs. Then maybe interviewer may ask you like what remote access tools you are using. You can say part of my job, remote access tool we used to use mostly AnyDesk with mostly AnyDesk. With the AnyDesk, you connect to the customer sites, and then after that we can log into the customer when required. And sometimes we have used TeamViewer as well. But majority of our customers, they have AnyDesk and TeamViewer clients. So with that, we mostly remotely logged into customer device and then fix their issues. These are the mostly remote access tools we have uh, used. And also sometimes local environment, we sometimes we use remote desktop as well. For example, I need to log into particular servers. In the local environment, I'm using Windows remote desktop. This kind of like remote access tools pretty much we are using. Now, what kind and how you support your customer? This is similar to the other questions we have looked at here. What types of customers you support, what kind or how you support your customers. So what types of customers you support? That could be related with like they are mostly business customers, and day-to-day basis they are using their laptops and also desktop. If they have any issues, they report to us. That's kind of customers we support. And how you support? Majority of the cases remotely we support customers, but some context maybe if customer is not on the premises, or like it's difficult, so we cannot, if some hardware issues, we cannot troubleshoot directly with the remote login. That kind of scenario, we have a separate on-site technician that goes to customer premises, and then they fix those issues from there. Then maybe they can ask how many people working in a team. You can say, in my team, around 5 people working. I have a supervisor or team leader. So basically, I need to report to team leader. So any issues I have, I always discuss. At first I looked at myself, and then any issues happen, I always report to my team leader. So around 5 people worked in a team. How do you collaborate with people? That means it's asking, you have a team member or maybe customers. So with a team member, mostly we are using Microsoft Teams. With Microsoft Teams, we collaborate. Sometimes let's say your colleague maybe was working with one of the fault. Now you're now you get a call from customers, and now you are fixing that fault. But you may need some informations on that scenario. You contact with your colleague and then get some info. So majority of the case, we are using Teams. Sometimes we send email. Sometimes we call our team members as well, because some people may be working at office. Maybe some of them they are working from home. Sometimes you need to make phone call as well. So basically collaboration is done with email, Teams, and telephone. That's how we collaborate with people. Then they can ask any kind of questions in the interview, and any order. There shouldn't be any proper order. They can ask any questions from any order. Let's say, what is the reason you should be hired? They are asking like why they should hire you. You can say part um, part of these job applications, or part of the role as you described, pretty much majority of the stuffs I have gone through in my internship programs, and I got experience from my studies as well. And the job you advertise, majority of the core stuffs I already know, and I have work experience around that, and I'm confident that I'll be able to fix those issues, and I'll be able to fulfill your requirements. That's why I think I'm the best candidate. So in this way, you can hire me. Then they may ask you, what is the salary you're looking for? They can ask like what kind of salary you can looking for. You can say that anything around 50K, maybe that's okay with me as a full-time job. So when you say anything around 50K, that means it could be less than 50, it could be more than 50. But you don't need to specify at this stage. When you are initially want to get a job, you can say in this way, like anything around like 50K in a year, I'm okay with that. So there's a many different scenario can happen. Let's say some salary, some company they advertise the job with salary. So in this case, they'll not ask these questions. Even they ask questions as well. In this case, if you know what is the salary, then you can say, okay, I'm happy with that salary. I'm happy with that salary. If you offer like 60K, I'm happy with it. But on average, for any kind of like answer, you can say you're just starting your job. So in this scenario, you can say like that. But all the company they have the standard salary for me. So maybe if they will make like big adjustment over there, but not like a big gap. If someone say like they'll pay, if their intention is to pay 70K, they will pay something around that. But we need to answer, because if you do not know like what they are offering and what they are asking, so to have a gap around that areas, you can say like I'm okay with that anything around 50K. Because remember, once you get a job, after that you'll have the options to increase the salary or move to a different role. You'll always have those options. So initially, your concentration should be how to get a job. So that point of view, you just say reasonably that this is okay with me as a starter level job. Who is saying low? Is it the no? So if that's why we say like it's not like we say anything around that. So if they're happy to put more, that's fantastic for you. But for you, you okay with that? So that's the way you want to get a job over there. Now, some of the common questions they ask, let's say, what is your strength and weakness? What is your strength and weakness? So strength, you can say that you're a quick learner, and you always your strength is you always confident. You have a good intuition system, intuition method, you can say, or like a intuition's ability. You have like quickly you can understand like what particular things happen possibly. So that's your strength. So you have like technical knowledge. Technically, you're good. You understand the customer fault in easy way, and also you're a quick learner. So something you quickly know how to get that one, how to find that one. So that's kind of things your strength. And weakness, you can say weakness maybe sometimes you too concentrated with your work, you forgot to take your break. But regular basis, you should take a break in a regular interval. So that's one of the weakness you have. You can say you can describe in this way. Also, sometimes you say like once you complete customer task, or when you let's say uh, my shift will be over in next half an hour, but still I am working with something with customer, so it may take longer than 30 minutes. But on that kind of scenario, I always fix the customer issues um, uh, before I leave the job, or I always have intention to fix the customer issues. In this way, I feel better. I don't I don't leave anything pending for next day or something. That's one of my weakness, you can say. You are describing your weakness in a way that it's kind of like your strength, but you're describing this as kind of like your weakness, because part of the interview you need to answer in this way. Then tell me something about yourself. This is similar to questions we have looked at in the last sections. Is similar to that. You can say, "Hey, my name is Zahid. I've completed my bachelor's of IT in last month, or few months back, or last year, like that. And but after that, I get involved in training and stuffs. I have done some study. I've get some certification course and stuffs, and then pretty much now I'm preparing myself, and I'm ready to get a job in IT. You do not need to say your old story after like 2 years back, 3 years back, 5 years back, what you have done. You always start from your most recent activity. Let's say I've completed my bachelor's of IT last year, and after that I have studied like few certification courses around Microsoft, around networking, and after that I did some work around that areas, and I have done my internship also around that area. So I have pretty good experience to work around Microsoft 365 technologies, and Microsoft Azure virtualizations, setting up IP, set up small business router, setting up desktop, laptop. This is my core instance. That's what I did, pretty much, last few months. So that's how you describe yourself. Not really, not at not at the moment. So mostly you stick with your recent activity. So what you have done in last 6 months. So this one and the tell me something about yourself, it will provide the same answer, basically. It's the same thing what you have done last 6 months. So um, list 5 tasks you do in your day-to-day basis. So in this case, you can mention that pretty much I have to work with faults, basically. I have to work with faults. So I'm looking after many different kind of faults. And so I need to looking after my ticketing system and contact with customers and possibly fix their issues, update those informations in the ticketing system, maintain my KPI. KPI means like I have to do every day like 20 to 30 tickets. So pretty much I do that one. And then at the end, I report to my supervisor as well. So this is my day-to-day jobs. Key performance, KPI is a key performance indicators. Now list 5 issues, challenges you face in your day-to-day task. So some issues can happen when you dealing with your customers. Let's say sometimes it's difficult to contact with customers because maybe they are they are busy during their day, so it's hard to contact with them. That's how like fault get delays. Um, uh, we need to wait for the customer call back. So that's one of the issues. Yes. So that's the escalation process. So this is the next question. What is your escalation procedure? So the next question. So basically, if any issues can't resolve, then those issues we escalate to senior people or somebody who know around that domains. And also sometimes we escalate to team leader. Leader assign the task to like correct department. List 5 to 10 applications you are using day-to-day basis. So at a minimum 5 applications you are using. Say, as you can see, I'm using AnyDesk remote management tools. Then I'm using Microsoft Word, Microsoft Office, basically I'm using. Then I'm using Google Chrome in many different contexts. I have to use PDF as well. Also, I'm using my ticket management system, which is cloud-based applications. In this way, day-to-day basis, I'm using many different applications. Also part of the Teams, sometimes some customers using Slack, right? Sometimes I'm using Notepad to do something. And based on the other requirements, I have to use Hyper-V, virtualizations, Active Directory servers, all these things day-to-day basis I'm using. Now, how you achieve customer satisfaction? Let's say you're working with faults and you're looking after your customers, but how do you uh, pretty much understand that your customer is satisfied? So this is usually part of the ticket management systems. Once you complete any ticket, one email goes to customers to provide some survey. Usually customer provides survey and saying that their issues has been resolved and they are satisfied. So satisfaction level, there's a 0 to 10. 10 is the most satisfactions and 0 is the least satisfaction. So but customer usually they say but in my case, majority of the cases customer they are satisfied because I complete the customer complete my task, and also I fix the fault, and also I get contact with customers to make sure like they have no issues. In this way, in my case, majority of the cases customer like they are satisfied. But in relation to similar sort of questions, if they ask like if some customer is not satisfied, what do you do, and what kind of scenario they can have these issues? You can say sometimes some customers maybe it's difficult to contact with them, especially if they have internet issues. It's difficult for us to remote into customer device. That kind of scenario, it's getting delay to fix the customer issues, and that kind of scenario sometimes customer they are not happy, but which is out of our scope, but we do our best. We send our technician earliest possible time to customer premises, and in this way we restore the services. Escalation procedures, pretty much we already talked about, like something you do not know, something it's out of scope, something not in your boundary, and something like related with another department. Basically, you escalate these issues to a different department or like your senior team member or team leader. Take the tickets, you action the tickets, Maybe to solve that problem, it may take a bit more time, but at a minimum, within 3 hours, you need to respond to the customer saying that, hey, I'm working with these tickets, or someone is working with your tickets. Someone was working with your faults. So response time is 3 hours. That means within 3 hours, you need to respond. And restore time, 24 hours. Restore means like if um, maximum delay, you can have 24 hours. So you need to resolve the issues within 24 hours. But some context, maybe you're waiting for parts, you're waiting for technician. If those kind of issues happen, then it may take more than 24 hours. But usually, whatever fixable, it should be fixed within 24 hours. So remember, 3 hours is your response time, 24 hours is your restore time. That's your SLA with your customers. So when you have no tickets, what do you do on that time? That's could be another common interview questions. When you have no tickets, what do you do on that time? It could be you can say that when there's no tickets, I actually review my old tickets and see any pending tickets if they have any issues, whether I can follow up any customers or not. But if absolutely there's nothing to do on that time, I just go through a bit of study because I like to know more about technology. So always, if any new technology, some technology news and article, those kind of things I study. And always, if I got any kind of spare time, I try to put myself to fix customer issues, or else I learn something new. That's my um, that's what I do if there's no ticket. Now, another questions. Tell me something about the company you are working. In this scenario, you can see is the same questions we have looked at earlier. Tell me something about the company you are working. You can say that currently I'm working part of IT Netflix, and uh, so basically they are the IT support provider. So they provide IT support to small to medium-sized businesses. So we look after some of the customers around Sydney CBD, and also some customers they are located in remote locations as well. So we provide support via phone calls, via our ticket management system, and sometimes we need to send our technician to customer premises as well. So pretty much we're looking after like many small to medium sized businesses and their IT issues. That's our company pretty much does. What is your day-to-day job over there? So this one we have looked at already. So basically your day-to-day job is involved looking after tickets, contacting customers, resolve their issues, or if management assign any new task, for example, setting up some laptop, fixing some hardware issues, replacing something, creating any new account, those kind of like assigned tasks you do as well. Now, what find you interesting at work? This is one of the random questions they can ask, like, what do you like at work? You can say, um, I'm always working with like faults. So when I fix faults, I like that part. So if I, whatever reason, if I can't fix that issues, so I don't feel good because this customer is delaying. They want to get it fixed as soon as possible. So always I'm satisfied when customer issues get fixed, and that is one of the most interesting things we have in our workplace. And also like sometimes like little things, maybe if I need help, my team member is always like great, so they help me, and with their help I can fix that issues as well. That's also like sometimes interesting. How many people was in your team? This is already to talk about. So we have around 5 people in our team. We have a team leader, and pretty much we have a weekly team meeting. We discuss our finding issues uh, uh, in our weekly team member, and also with team meeting, and also weekly team meeting. Our team leader also advise always some new directions. So that's how pretty much uh, we deal with our team. So whom do you report your work? this is will be like day-to-day basis. I have to report to my team leader. So why you want to move from your current role? That's also one of the things. You can say that in my current role, pretty much I'm working part-time basis or casual basis, and I at the moment I need full-time. I'm looking for full-time work, so that's why I would like to move to a company where I can get more shifts and reasonably if I get a full-time job, that would be great. That's the reason I'm looking for jobs. Tell me a scenario where you had to deal with difficult customers and how do you fix those issues? You can see one time, like one of the customers report about their Outlook issues. So customer was using Outlook and then customer could not send email. And it was important for the customers, but customer was uh, reporting these issues quite a few times, but issue didn't get resolved. And somehow it's get bit delayed, so customer was not happy. So customer was a bit upset to fix the issue as soon as possible. But by looking at that issues, I found that possibly there are some issues happening with Outlook. So I need to uninstall Outlook, install again, and after that I need to maybe remove the account and insert the account again. Those kind of troubleshooting I need to do. But when I was talking those things with my customers, customer was unhappy with those things because customer do not want to spend a lot of time, and also it was urgent for that customer. So what I did, how I fix it, actually, I advise the customer to check the email from the browser, web browser, and I direct customer how to do that. And customer was doing that, and in this way, initial issues was resolved. But later on, I talk with customer and make an appointment to fix the issues because I need to spend a bit more time with that Outlook issues. So customer was eventually happy with everything, and customer agreed with the appointment time, and customer was happy with the initial fix. So that's how I actually resolved that issues, and it was difficult, but customer was okay. Now, do you have any questions about this role or anything? Let's say you applied for IT service desk analyst in this kind of role. You can say that they're asking, interviewer asking, like, do you have any questions around that? In this scenario, you can ask, you can say that, um, let's say, do you have any questions about this role or anything? You can say that by looking at the job descriptions, I feel myself that I'm the right candidate for this kind of stuffs. And I did exactly similar sort of things during my work. So basically, um, based on that level, I can say that I'm actually a good fit for this job. So I'd like to really, like to get this job, and I'm interested about this job. Do you have any IT certifications? You can, in this case, you can say, yes, I have done like my Cisco certification course, which is CCNA routing and switching. I have done my Microsoft 365 administration course. I have done my ITL foundation course. So pretty much desktop support around that areas, I have IT certification courses. But in this scenario, like whether you have done your exam or not, so those kind of things you do not need to um, um, communicate, because that's like could be another question. If they ask like whether have you done any exam or not, maybe on the time you need to mention. Other than that, initially you can say that you have done these certification courses. Basically, you have experience around that certification courses. Now, how do you adopt new technology? So in our workplace, always like some new stuffs come in, especially new software come in. So we need to um, uh, advise about that. So how do you adopt new technology? You can see that always we have some new technology, but pretty much I'm always excited about new technology, and IT is one of the um, innovative area where always new things come up. And as an IT professional, I'm always happy to adopt any new technologies. I'm always happy to work with new stuffs. That's also one of my hobby as well. So pretty much in this way, you can answer all these questions, and based on these answers, majority of the interview questions you'll be able to cover. This kind of questions usually they ask in the interview. Now, some of the best practice, let's say, you always communicate in a way that it create value for your interview and job. You need to be always confident. When you communicate, you always you communicate in a confident way, not like something you do not know, something you are very weak. Those kind of things you do not show. So that's why before you go for interview, you need to have your own preparations. You can write down the answers in a piece of paper, and then you can do practices. On a regular basis, you practice how to answer those questions. And when you answer, you need to be fluent as well. So when you are fluent, it shows you more confident. So you need to show them confident because the interviewer like confident people. So you need to show yourself that you are, confident when you're answering any sort of questions. If they ask any technical, non-technical, any kind of questions, you answer them in a proactive way. You present yourself in a proactive way. That's important. Try to answer the questions in a proactive way. So sometimes maybe some questions maybe you do not know exactly, or maybe you do not know, but you need to find out some proactive way to answer them. Even if you do not know something, let's say you can say, yeah, I have a bit of knowledge around that, but I need to do a bit more investigations and review. Then I can answer you properly. And that's one of my also part of my work. If I do not know something, I do a bit more investigations. I take off time off from customers, and after that I go through bit details, and then after that I provide the right informations. So yes, I never like to provide like wrong information. That's why I need to get the information bit properly. Moreover, like when you work in IT industry, let's say some of these stuff, even you know something, let's say you haven't done much networking, but if they ask, you can say, yes, I I know how to assign IP address, how IP address communicate, how we do ping, how do you tracer, right? If something is not, if any IP communications have any problem, or we always can troubleshoot and find out those issues. Or if they say, do you have any Linux experience? Even if you do not know much Linux, but you know at least that Linux is another operating system. Linux doesn't have any GUI. Based on whatever knowledge you have, you need to come out with some answers. You can say, yes, I am, uh, um, yes, I know some of these stuffs around Linux, but based on what task, let's say if you need to do application deployment, maybe that's another task. But basic level of stuffs you can manage. So you need to answer in a proactive way. You can say like all the basic steps I know about Linux, but if some advanced stuffs required, or if particular things you want me to deploy, I need to check that task at first, and based on that, I'll be able to provide you the answer. And always based on your level, show yourself as a best candidate for that role. And always you think about yourself as the best candidate, the level of informations you know, the stuffs you did so far, right? But part of your like educations, part of your certification course, part of your internships programs, already you should be knowing plenty of stuffs. I would say like around 80%, 90% stuff you should be knowing. But if you do not know, I think you should go back and do some practices. And then you prepare yourself. Make sure like you feel comfortable with all the technical stuffs. And then another 20%, 15, 20% stuffs, you can over the time, like you'll gain experience around that. But if you know 80% stuffs already, you should be feeling confident. And also you remember that in IT, many people applying for jobs, but it doesn't mean that everybody know many stuffs, and doesn't mean that they knows more than you. If you apply for any service desk analyst role, or level 1, level 2 IT support job. So you should be um, skilled enough to do those kind of particular jobs, right? So something you know, but something you do not know, you'll be able to capture those stuffs as well when you get a job. So always think that you already know many stuffs. So pretty much based on that, you should be able to, uh, you should be able to fix their, issues for their customers. So based on this, you should be feeling confident. So make sure like you're confident when you answer any questions. So pretty much this is the best practice. And I think if you go through all these questions again and again, write down some notes, definitely you'll be able to do well in the interview. Okay, thank you.